What's going on, everyone? You are listening to Locked On Now NHL, local experts on the biggest stories around the ice. I am your host, Kim Becker, and thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every weekday. The Boston Bruins overcame a few late scratches to beat the Golden Knights at home in our biggest game.
The biggest game.
The Boston Bruins found out they'd be losing key players to the COVID protocols just earlier today, and the short notice may have contributed to the Boston loss at home to Vegas. Locked On Bruins explains what else led to a losing night for Boston.
I, for one, did not enjoy that hockey viewing experience at all. This is Ian McLaren, host of Locked On Boston Bruins, and our Bruins were manhandled on home ice by the Vegas Golden Knights by a score of 4-1 on Tuesday evening. The bigger story, of course, being the absences of Brad Marchand and Craig Smith, both of whom were placed on COVID-19 protocols earlier in the day. This comes after a trip to Calgary over the weekend. The Flames have been hit hard by a COVID outbreak, so hopefully it's just limited to Smith and Marchand, but both players were unable to play in this one, and the Bruins were only able to hit the score sheet once, thanks to Brad Marchand, assisted by Taylor Hall. But overall, not a great showing for the Boston Bruins, who fell behind 3-0 by the end of the first period, and then could only muster the one goal on Vegas goaltender Robin Lehner. Again, be sure to subscribe to Locked On Boston Bruins for all the latest when it comes to the black and gold, this potential COVID outbreak, and again, Bruins falling 4-1 to Vegas. They were only outshot 25-24, but unable to really beat Robin Lehner and allowed those early goals, and really it was pretty much done after the first period.
The Stars faced off against a familiar foe in the St. Louis Blues last night, but couldn't get a home win against a division rival. Locked On Stars is in to review a tough loss to take for Dallas.
The Dallas Stars losing streak has extended to 4 games. Hey everyone, Dane Lewis here with Locked On Stars, coming to you after the Stars' disappointing defeat at the hands of the St. Louis Blues. A big divisional rivalry game, always exciting when the Stars and Blues get together. And this game lived up to that notion through the first 2 periods. Really entertaining hockey, really defensive game, really physical, lots of hits, back and forth. Riley Damiani gets his first NHL goal in his NHL debut for the Stars, and then the Dallas Stars surrender a goal right after. The teams matching each other step for step, and then just an absolute collapse from the Stars in the third period, starting with a Roddick Fox, a high-sticking penalty that put him in the penalty box for 4 minutes, and the Dallas Stars, of course, surrender their third goal of the game, going down to the Blues 3-1, ultimately costing the game. After that high-sticking penalty, all momentum that Dallas had in that game was lost, and they could just not recover. This team is not built to come back down more than one goal. And we've seen that all season, and it's going to be very clear whenever we play teams as talented as St. Louis. So Dallas certainly over these next few games need to work on building the lead, scoring first, and then building on top of that and establishing that lead and asserting their dominance. And they'll have a chance to do that on Friday when they travel to St. Louis to take on the Blues yet again.
The Philadelphia Flyers used offense early and often to beat up on the New Jersey Devils in Philly last night, and after a night with goals all around the Philadelphia bench to be had, Locked On Flyers recaps a big win.
Russ Cohen here for the Locked On Flyers podcast. Big win for the Flyers, 6-1. Cam Atkinson has a 4-point game, gets a hat trick. Game gets stopped for a little while so everybody could throw their hats and get them all collected. Claude Giroux's a +5. Oscar Lindblom gets a goal. Justin Braun gets a goal. Everybody gets a goal. They chased Mackenzie Blackwood. They just really destroyed the New Jersey Devils. The Devils early on had some chances, and when they couldn't bury them because Carter Hart really played strong, the Flyers took the will out of them. So this is a big win for the Flyers, and we'll see if they can continue their winning ways. And we're certainly going to be talking about that on the Locked On Flyers podcast. So look out for that, and let's see what they do next.
Coming up, we'll continue our look around the league from last night around the NHL. You are listening to Locked On Now. All right, everybody, this holiday season, grab a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar or better than a candy bar. Built Bar is filled with so much holiday goodness. It is rich with decadent flavor, covered in chocolate. But you guys, it is also amazingly low in calories, sugar, net carbs, and fat, and high in protein. You get the best of both worlds, delicious and healthy in this holiday season. There are so many flavors you will have a hard time choosing, just like you have a hard time choosing any other holiday treat. Will you have raspberry, mint brownie, cherry, or double chocolate, cookies and cream even, you guys, or peanut butter brownie, my personal favorite. Built Bar gives you that extra fuel that you need to bust down all those mall doors when you are shopping in those indoor malls, or if you're just standing in endless lines trying to get into your favorite store to get that special holiday treat so you can have this other holiday treat, which we call the Built Bar, right in your pocket or your purse. Because it's the season of peace and love, though, you guys, don't bring your favorite Built Bar to family events because people will fight over these. And they are so passionate about their favorite flavor. They will literally fight until they can get their favorite in their hand. But hey, you could always tell Santa to bring you some Built Bars in those stockings. They're the perfect stocking stuffer. They fit into anything. You can dip them into a piping hot cup of cocoa on Christmas morning after Santa has brought them all to you in your stocking. It really is just the perfect holiday treat. And we have an offer for you guys. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your total order. Again, that's at built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off all of your perfect holiday Built Bars. You're listening to Locked On Now NHL. I'm Kim Becker, and thanks so much for making Locked On Now your first listen every weekday. Let's continue our look around all of the action around the league in the NHL on Tuesday.
Let's go around the league.
The Detroit Red Wings and the New York Islanders played a defensive battle and a 2-1 final that Detroit ended up on top of. Detroit snapped a 3-game losing streak with the narrow win, and Locked On Red Wings has the story post-game.
The Detroit Red Wings snapped their 3-game losing streak at Little Caesars Arena, beating the New York Islanders 2-1, thanks to a goal by Dylan Larkin. And what's so special about that goal, you might ask? Well, it was assisted by Moritz Seider on a nice feed, and then, of course, secondary assist by Lucas Raymond. Doesn't get any better than that. Michael Rasmussen had a nice 2-on-1 goal himself. Nice rocket of a shot as well. Just nice seeing him get on the board. Alex Nedeljkovic back on his game. His first start since his last subpar start. He came in a relief appearance in Colorado as well. And he had himself 33 saves on 34 shots against, only 1 goal let in. Just a good, dominating offensive performance by the Detroit Red Wings to snap the 3-game losing streak. Scotty and I are going to break the whole thing down for you, like always, so make sure you stay tuned to Locked On Red Wings.
The Islanders had plenty of chances to pick up a good win on the road, but Locked On Islanders explains that the New York offense just didn't show up enough to take advantage of those chances.
The Islanders fall to the Red Wings 2-1 in another lackluster effort. Quite simply, there are, to use a Barry Trotz cliche, too many passengers on this team. The offense is not coordinated. They don't have enough time established in the offensive zone. And when they do, they are largely kept to the perimeter. If they're lucky, it's one shot and done. The only goal of the night came on an Anders Lee tip-in. That's the kind of play they need. But not enough players are putting the puck on the net. Not enough players are going to the net. And basically, even if this team only makes a handful of mistakes in their own zone, it only takes a couple of goals, as we saw again tonight, to have them lose the hockey game. So a 2-1 loss, disappointing performance. They need all 18 skaters and the goalie on the same page, giving 100%. If they don't get that, they're not going to win. For more, listen to the Locked On Islanders podcast with me, Gil Martin, wherever you get podcasts.
The Buffalo Sabres won on the road to snap a losing streak against the Jets, and Locked On Sabres has the full recap of Buffalo's 2-goal win.
Hey guys, Joe DiBiase from the Locked On Sabres podcast. Following the Sabres 4-2 win over the Winnipeg Jets, the Sabres get back in the win column after a bunch of losses that had tanked them down the NHL standings near the bottom. They get a 4-2 win in Winnipeg, and a lot of their key pieces that are going to be around for a long time played well, and that's got Sabre fans feeling pretty good after tonight's game. Rasmus Dahlin's best game of the season, not just because he scored 2 goals, although he scored probably the nicest goal of his career. Toe drag along the wall around Jets forward Kyle Connor, cuts to the middle, moves into the high slot, and rips one bar in for his fourth goal of the season. He gets his 5th goal of the season a little bit later on in a slap shot from the point, but was just overall controlling the game, passing well, puck movement. Dahlin's best performance of the season after a very shaky start to the year. Really promising performance from him. Sabres net is becoming stabilized. Can I say that? It's with a 22-year-old rookie in Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. The Sabres had allowed 14 goals in 2 games. Then Luukkonen comes in. He has played their last 4 games and has allowed 7 goals. 14 goals in 2 games since Luukkonen has played all 4 games and has allowed 4 goals. Not super surprising. He's the most athletic goaltender in the organization, and they want him to be the goalie of the future. So he's got the potential there. He's just happening to get off to a really strong start to this season. And last thing on tonight's game, Jeff Skinner nets his 9th goal of the season, a really nice wrist shot in a 2-on-1. He's up to 9 goals on the year, a 26-goal pace. Not a $9 million player by any means, but giving the Sabres at least some production, 25-plus goals is at least a nice season, a nice start to a comeback for Jeff Skinner's career in Buffalo. Stay tuned to the Locked On Sabres podcast for the latest on the Buffalo Sabres, with their next game being Thursday night in Minnesota.
The San Jose Sharks lost at home and now sit at just 2-2 on the homestand. Locked On Sharks details the loss.
The Kraken drown the Sharks offense. I'm JD Young of Locked On Sharks, and the Sharks lose 3-1 to the Seattle Kraken in the first ever game between the two Pacific rivals. A game that was 0-0 going into the third period, but was very entertaining with plenty of chances by both teams. But the big story of this game was the Sharks unable to solve Chris Driedger until the very end of the game. And Matt Nieto had a layup of a goal that he wasn't able to score. And that ended up being the difference in the game, where the Kraken were able to capitalize on those opportunities and the Sharks were not. We'll have a full breakdown of the game on today's episode of Locked On Sharks, so you can ever get your podcast.
That's a wrap for us. Thanks so much for making Locked On Now your first listen every day. For more on the National Hockey League and your favorite team, make your second listen Locked On NHL and your team's Locked On podcast. I'm Kim Becker. This has been Locked On Now, Locked On your team every day.